Hey, brief disclaimer. I'm going to go ahead and give this response with a little bit of acoustic accompaniment. Some of my other classes with video responses have already gone through this, so sorry if this is going to be an issue. We're just going to have to go through this one together. I don't think it should be, though. A little spoiler alert. I think it's going to be cool. So, basically, right now we're doing the response on the storytelling, all right? So the essays, they start off, and first one kind of spells out what that storytelling conference, what that storytelling event was supposed to be, right? So we hear the whole process of her combining her two favorite things, storytelling and, women and people of color, just telling those stories, putting them together. So we get kind of the background and the idea of why we want this. And then we hear more about what it means for them, what it means to make the stories come out and actually put on that event, right? And then we get into the actual stories themselves, right? So I picked I'm Not a Walk in Color, I picked Deliberate Speed, and I picked Enabled. Okay, I picked the Walk in Color one because primarily because it was the first one that I saw, right? And it was just I'm Not a Walk in Color. I figured, what's that about, right? I want to get that. The Deliberate Speed one, though, interested me because it was about Little Rock, right? Little Rock's, it is a neat place. I mean, it's a cool looking place. It's also, I know about the history there, right? It's a lot of segregation, a lot of school stuff, so I was interested in that one. And then Enabled, right? I'm pretty blind myself. I'm not, I have like correctional contacts that I wear that do okay, but I wanted to hear about her blindness, so I got into them. So the first one, I'm Not a Walk in Color, takes us through this story of being in class and having to show off her teeth. She says that she felt like she was being auctioned off, right? And that she felt like it was almost, she was like a show pony almost. And she says, I'm not a walk in color. I'm not a walk in color. She makes a big point there, right? The next one, Deliberate Speed, she talks about her, was it grandma, mother, something like that. Someone that went to Little Rock schools and had to deal with all that segregation firsthand, right? The last one was, of course, about her blindness and navigating that. She had some really fun quotes through that about the cookies were so good they made my mom cry, right? That one made me almost chuckle a little bit because it's that child, naive happiness. So, evaluations, I would say that the blindness one probably meant the most because she, of course, integrated a little bit of humor and a little bit of love into that one, right? And that's what I'm a big sucker for in my stories. Deliberate Speed, that one was pretty effective just because they had that actual story, just like how we liked the storyteller in the class that had the phone call with her mom. The phone call just puts a whole new level of authenticity over it. So I really enjoyed that. And then Walk in Color, that had its own deal because that was an actual first-hand account of dealing with those discriminatory moments from someone who actually had to experience that. So I enjoyed that, just hearing her perspective of it, right? Interpretation, I'm not a walk in color, I'm not a walk in color. I mean, that she really makes the interpretation, the connection right there for you, as if showing these black children off in that white school was like an auction, right? It was like we were where the teacher was, right? Putting these kids on blocks and trying to sell them off based on their teeth. And, I'm sure that was a hard thing to go through. Deliberate Speed was a little bit different because I almost want to take it as like it's a slow process, right? But if we look in the grand scheme of how quickly they integrated to like where we are now, it's tough because I would say that there is a lot of kids in schools where we've done the integration okay, but it's just they are treated differently. She talks about how someone was teaching them algebra in the back and was pissing her off, and it's like, well, we still see experiences like that at schools, right? We still see black kids being picked on by teachers sometimes. So I'd say that it is a deliberate and slow process as much as it is a quick integration. There's still slow, long trails that follow it. Now, the cookies were so good, right? The Enabled, she kind of takes us on, I think she plays a game here with the being blind. She talks about being a child and how, like, she didn't understand that there was an issue. So she almost makes us blind to it throughout the story of, is there actually an issue or not? And then, later as we get more revealed, it's almost like corrective lenses are put on us and we're understanding more and more about her. So I took out a little bit of a cool interpretation there. If I had to connect it, theorize, and make any critiques, I would say it's strums a lot of the same chords as what we've been hearing in Black is the Body, right? We're getting like really personal, in-depth body strong talks from these women. And so I'd say it ties in good with that. I'd say that the space and place is fun. They all play around with going back in time, telling us stories that happened to them or to their relatives, right? So, time is definitely being moved around here in ways that we all love. We all think that they're juicy, and it works as a good storytelling process. My critique was some of them ended in ways I didn't really like. The first one ended in, she said, see the God in yourself. And that could be seen a couple different ways. Maybe see the God's touch in all of us, but the way it came off to me was like, see the deity in and of yourself. And as a Christian, as just a person who thinks that humans aren't really all that, it kind of hurt me to hear that. Feels a little gaudy, right? It feels a little self-righteous almost to say, see the God in yourself. I don't really like that quote, so that rubbed me the wrong way. I don't think anyone, regardless of race or gender, should be talking about the God in themselves, really. I think we should be trying to all meet humbly, but I also understand, like, coming from a place of that sort of discrimination, you might feel the need to establish yourself stronger than other people would. Like, I don't feel that because I'm not threatened by that every day. Right? The same idea comes up in Deliberate Speed. She talks about fighting like hell until they cower at our feet. Right? That kind of hurts me. I don't think that's a way to hurt hate. You can't really fight hate with hate. Well, you certainly can, but I don't know if that would have been something that MLK would have been happy about. Granted, like I said, it's not really my place to talk about this, but it just, to me, those come off a little more aggressive than they need to be. That's what I thought. I'm gonna get a couple good licks in, and then I'll end this, alright? Okay, so yeah, that's what I thought about those